Parliament Finance Committee, chaired by Dr. Marcus Beeboa, on Wednesday began its probe into the collapse of some banks in the country. Officials from the Bank of Ghana as well as the Ministry of Finance appeared before the committee. But even before the hearings began, well, MP for Bolgatanga Central and NDC MP Isaac Adongo stormed out of the committee hearing. He protested they've not been given adequate documents to interrogate, and he described the sitting as something that will not be useful and that it's an attempted cover-up of what led to the banking collapse.
You can't give me executive summary of Boulder's report and the rest are your press conferences. I can't be part of this. Wow. I can't be part of this. And
the full KPMG report is not even part.
This is what I have. These are the documents we are considering.
When it's already in the public domain.
Why should I sit in that meeting and rubber stamp it? I won't do it. Listen, this is a rubber stamp process. It will deliver no value. I am not willing to be part of it. These are the documents they gave to us. Statement of banking sector, press release by Bank of Ghana, press release, governance speech. When it comes to KPMG, they only give you conditions and opinions of Unibank. There were 5 asset quality reviews at Unibank. There were 4 of them in 1 month. We don't even have that report. They claim that there was a preliminary work that was done by KPMG to take a decision to go into it. We don't have that report. We don't even know the terms of reference of the job that KPMG did. We don't even know what contract we signed with Boulders. We don't even know the full report of Boulders except executive summary of Boulders' work. Why will I sit in that meeting? I won't sit in that meeting.
Isaac Adongo had a response from Majority Leader Seiche Mensah Bonsu. He says his decision to boycott the sitting is obviously not the best.
We have a bit until just a few moments ago. I think certainly not the best. If he has any legitimate claim, he should keep prompting the chairman, and if it's relevant to the transaction of business by the committee, I believe that it could be procured for the purposes of getting to the truth of this matter. We are all concerned, and we need to deal with it. But I think it's important to also explain that Parliament operates by our own rules of procedure. What is happening here now, which I agree to, I've always taken a principled position that committees should be liberated to act proactively. Our orders provide that matters should be referred to committees before they act on them. And all speakers have held to that. We want to refer matters to them.
Some NDC MPs have also been reacting to Adongo's decision to boycott and his complaint about the document not being adequate. Host Central MP Benjamin Podo, who is a colleague on the NDC side, says they have received enough of the document and he doesn't agree that the entire sitting will not be useful at all.
It is within the right of every member of the committee to demand additional information in course of our work. So his demand is legitimate that we should have also, in addition to what has been given to us, the details of the AQR exercise carried out, as well as other reports, the details, we can demand them. So he just needed to table it. And that was what he did, and it's acceptable.
On the appearance of the governor of the central bank, Dr. Ernest Addison, well, a member of the finance committee on the NDC side, John Jinapo, described the appearance as very disappointing. He says the governor was evasive with the kinds of responses he gave when he appeared before the committee, particularly when it came to the issue of job loss and how come officials of the BOG have not been penalized several months after they supervised the collapse of the banks.
One response is job security. I need clear-cut response. That look, we shall keep employees for 3 months, we shall keep them for 2 months, so the employees are certain and clear in their mind that beyond 3 months, I might be losing my job. But if you say immediately and leave it blank, if we ask you, look, why did you not apply these laws when you realized that the banks were not doing well? Why didn't you revoke the license? And you can't give clear answers. If I ask you as governor, why did you grant license in May 2017 to 2 banks only for them to fail? And you say that your answer is that you were deaf.
Let's talk to some more members of the Finance Committee. I'm eager to know exactly how Mr. Adongo walked out of that session yesterday. Is that a minority position? Would we see him back on the committee today? Meet my guest, Richard Champong is Member of Parliament for Bia East, and Daniel Ochemabwaji is Member of Parliament for Bansma in the Ashanti region. Good morning to you, gentlemen. Thank you for being here.
Good morning, my
So yesterday, Mr. Champong, you didn't walk out?
No.
Okay, why not?
I sat through.
You were satisfied with all the documentation?
Let me say a very good morning to your cherished viewers. You know, yesterday we met as a committee, and then the mine was right there. So there was no need working out on my part because I needed to raise very critical issues, which I did. And he provided some answers to my questions.
We're talking about the governor of the bank.
The governor of Bangor. We first met him and then we handled him for about 3 hours. So my good friend, it was within his right to raise certain issues because he was demanding the asset quality review report, which in his view, the executive assembly cannot speak to it in detail. And then one would have expected that he would raise those issues. The chairman will also table it. Then we received a response from the governor. But by the end of the day, the governor gave us the assurance that subsequently they will provide those information to us. So he's a member of parliament. He reserved the right. Workout is one of the tools of parliament to register your displeasure about certain things. So I don't see anything wrong with it. And then I cannot blame him for that because I don't know.
So is he coming back today? What do you know?
He is a member of the committee. So nobody can ask him not to come back.
But he walks out on day one.
Because of some issues he raised. And yesterday was with the governor. Today we are meeting Pricewaterhouse and then KPMG. So it's a different ball game altogether. So maybe he's satisfied with those documents provided him to deal with it in respect of today's sitting. So I'm sure he will join us today to continue the work of Parliament. So that by the end of the day, we'll share all the information gathered with the general public. So that people might not have the feeling that we are trying to shield an individual or an institution.
Was there an attempt to take a second vote on whether or not you were doing an in-camera sitting or a public sitting?
No, because we had already taken the decision. No, we've met twice on this subject matter. So we took a decision to hold the meeting in camera because the financial sector is a very sensitive sector. If care is not taken and some information goes out there and it's not managed well, before the person comes out to withdraw such information, that is a lie. But it might have caused a very big harm to the industry. And if you collapse the financial sector, the entire economy is collapsed.
So you're doing in camera, and that's what you're doing.
It's a normal practice.
Okay, so let's talk about Mr. Waji. Let's talk about what happened yesterday. Your own understanding. What do you better appreciate the problems? What were some of the things you were asking the governor, and what did he tell you?
Well, let me just say good morning to the viewers and also my good people in Bantama, and of course, good morning to my friend as well. Let me just say that what happened yesterday with our friend, our colleague, my friend, he's my friend as well, Honorable Adongo, his behavior, to me, in my opinion, was needless, useless, and unacceptable, even though he's entitled to what he did, but it was an indictment on the committee. I mean, before this meeting yesterday, we had met twice. A month ago we met, he was there. 2 weeks ago, before this meeting yesterday, we met also to review the documents that we had. We had asked the people that were coming to submit to see whether or not they were adequate or not. He wasn't there. The document, one of the documents he was asking for had already been provided. The detailed report from KPMG on Unibank had already been provided 2 weeks ago. Where was he? And by the way, if you needed more documents, sit down. Here's the governor. From 10 a.m. to about 2 p.m. Talk to him. If you need more documentation, the asset quality report, ask for it. Don't go out there and say...
So how did he walk out?
No.
You were all seated and he just...
When the governor has started making his presentation before questioning, right? He said, I have this executive summary, it's not enough. I don't have the detailed report. I don't have the asset quality report. And for that reason, I cannot make a decision on it. We all spoke to him. Please stay. It's okay. You can make we said even KPMG detailed report has already been provided. It's even on our platform.
So you tried to talk him down?
We tried to talk him down. We spoke to him, and he walked out just to
What
go and
did
make
the
news and say what the committee is doing is rubber stamping and useless.
What did the chairman say?
Well, I think even his own colleagues, the minority, they distanced themselves that whatever opinion he went out there to express and his behavior, they don't support it. And that is what the whole thing comes down to. So for me, he's a friend to me, but what he did, I don't think.
Okay, so I take it that the rest of you who stayed, you are 25 members. So
we I think about 20, 21 attended.
Okay.
Out of 25.
So the rest, you were, so
Yes.
that's what I'm asking. So what were some of the things that the governor said?
Well, he said a number of things. I mean, one of the things that I can say is that the fact that Bank of Ghana as an institution failed Ghanaians.
But the fact that they haven't still punished anybody.
Oh,
did you
Amadi,
press on that?
I think what we have to understand, Bank of Ghana is doing things, except that I think they should come out more for people to know what they've been doing. There are internal changes going on. I think people are going through Joko, they are being investigated. Oh, don't forget, we live in a country of laws. So you just can't say you're going to punish people. I think
but how about their own administrative rules?
Well, they can apply some of them, and I think they've done some. It may not be adequate. Maybe they should do more.
You sound like you were satisfied.
I was satisfied to the extent that the governor was generous with the committee. He opened up. He told us the truth, that he does not understand why issues that were going on with the banks were identified. But people failed to take action. And we even came to the point of realizing that maybe in that case, maybe we should look at the laws again. That if you are a bank, for instance, I remember the last time I was audited somewhere in February, my small microfinance company. Bank of Ghana issued a letter and said, by this date, you must respond to the queries you have raised. And if you don't, you get these penalties. We should be saying that Bank of Ghana, if you go out there.
So how about his own officials within the bank who failed to also do their side of?
That is why within the bank, things have happened. Transfer have been made. It may not be enough, no, because Ghanaians want more, and people are going through the probing process. Investigation is going on, and according to the Bank of Ghana, the governor, they are cooperating, and that is what is happening. So we are expecting that more things should be done. I think they should come out.
Mr. Champon, you were absolutely satisfied with the governor's answers to the questions.
No, I wasn't satisfied to the fullest, because even when I was scandalized to hear that some of the officers who were involved in all this rot, a question was posed to him, what has happened to them? And he told us some of them have been transferred to different departments. And it doesn't make sense. They have been transferred.
Because if you fail to perform a duty that you are assigned to do, why should we post you to another department to go and do what?
For example, if you are in charge of BSD, Banking Supervision Division, you do on-site and then off-site monitoring. So failure to recognize those rot in the banking sector, they give you weekly returns, monthly returns, annual returns, and all that. So if you were not able to peruse those documents, and you went ahead to do some assessment, issued provisional licenses to banks to operate as a bank, and give them final licenses to operate, and then there's this debt to all of us. And the only thing you can do is to transfer people from one department to another department. I think it's not the best. And even the point he told us is, some are cooperating with Yoko. You and I, we don't know what is happening. It is not in the public domain for people to see that action is being taken on them, so that it will serve as a deterrent. And the man said, some of the officials acted as facilitators. So if you can tell me they acted as the facilitators, and nothing has been done to those people, what are you trying to tell us?
Except to say they are going through an Yoko process.
Just that. And you and I, had it not been the meeting yesterday, we were not privy to all these things.
So what it means, Mr. Champon, is that nobody has been sacked yet, even though some people have been mentioned in the report.
There is no information to that. That somebody
was there a direct question put to the governor on that?
We asked in general terms, those who were involved in those rots, what has happened to them? And he said some have been transferred to other departments, and Yoko is investigating others. That was what he told us. And even I asked a question, I based my question on the law at 930, that even especially you, this governor, you issue 2 licenses for 2 banks, Beige Bank and Construction Bank, when you assume office. And you are not telling me those banks
presented a fictitious report before they were given a provisional license. So what due diligence did you do before going ahead to give them the final license to operate as a bank?
What was his response?
And he said he just came in barely 6 months ago.
Oh, 6 weeks, not 6 months.
He came in April.
6 weeks. At the time he issued the final license, it was
Yes.
6 weeks. So
6 weeks.
Yes.
So the question is, you said you were told that a lot is going on in the banking sector, which is not the best. So having a Zoom office, and then the document is presented to you to give a final license. My sister, what have you have to do a due diligence before giving the final license. You can't just operate in a vacuum. That I was informed that they've complied with all the requirements. As a result, I gave them the license.
So would you fault him on that? Because,
yes.
I mean, there are
Yes.
different people in the line.
Yes.
And if you're the boss, if you're the CEO, you rely on reports from others
Yes.
to make decisions. So it really doesn't matter if you came in 6 weeks ago or
The
10 months
institution is
ago.
there.
People would report to you
Yes.
based on a certain way. You don't go on the field yourself to make.
And
to
he
make
has
those
the institution.
Shouldn't we be
He's the
holding?
governor of Bank of Ghana.
Was there a follow-up question? So the people who misreported to you based on which you issued those licenses, what have you done to them?
If you heard Jonapol right, this is what he was saying, that the man was not forthcoming with the answers because I posed this question to you, and then you said you came in barely 6 weeks ago before you issued those licenses. So the question you posed, what has happened to those people who gave you that wrong information? Are they still in the office? Are we still using taxpayers' money to pay them? Are you applying some sanctions on them? And they couldn't give us any.
So what have you achieved as a committee, bringing the governor of the central bank before you yesterday
a lot,
and spending so many hours?
A lot,
What have you achieved?
because the process is ongoing.
It's a lot.
And this will help us to shape our laws. Even going through this exercise, we got a sense that all the punishment in the law is towards the banks and the special institutions, not the institution as a whole. So if you, the governor, or the Bank of Ghana can apply some sanctions on the banks, what happens to your staff who will not do their work well? So there are lapses in the law.
Okay, so let me pose that same question, yes.
Just to probably answer your question. In fact, what we are going through, the hearing we are going through, provides opportunity for improvement. So, and we are going to seize all those opportunities. So there are benefits to this hearing. Let me say,
but you know that Ghanaians are looking for punishments, not improvement necessarily.
This is the recommendation we are going to give.
Please, when you're talking, it's not just Ghanaians. Me too. Me, my people in Bantima, they want to see something. So everybody, we are all interested. So nobody should assume that we are going to rubber stamp anything or just protest some people. For what? If you're given job to do, you have to understand that you got paid to do what you have to do, and you must do it. So we are all interested. Apart from that, my friend said something that the only thing that Bank of Ghana is doing is transferring people. That's not true. On the contrary, they are saying that people are going through the investigation process.
Is this based on what the governor said?
Yes, that they are going through. And I'm telling you, the governor was very, very open. He told us what he needed to tell us. And that is why our friend, our colleague, Honorable Jonapol said, well, it was very invasive. He said that he does not understand why. That you found the issues, you've gone for the audit, field audit, you've discovered that some banks are insolvent, they are not profitable enough, they are collapsing, they are dying, and yet you go and give them overall score satisfactory. When everything you have provided supports that, based on your own criteria, they should not be given that kind of mark. So the bank failed. By the way, he also said, he's talking about 6 weeks issuing license. And I'm glad the way you
It's
you
not
took
6
it.
weeks.
Whatever is 6 weeks, whatever it is. He issued
Well,
final
he came
license for
April.
2 of the banks. Okay,
He
please.
came April.
But doesn't matter when he came in.
No,
I mean, he's still the boss. He takes the fall.
Yes, and he owed it up. He said yes. Mistakes were made because what he said was that there were reports when provisional license is issued. The final license will be issued based on certain things that the bank has to do to make the bank operational. So based on the report that was provided him, that if they set up their IT system, they have the human resources, they have this, go ahead and do it. So he relied on that report, and of course, he agreed to the fact that maybe he should have done more, and that things are being changed now. So for me, we got opportunity to learn what is going on.
But do you also appreciate as committee members what his failure has done to us and what it has cost us?
I said, Mami, let me say the Mama B. it is important to draw a timeline to this. Most of these issues did not happen under his watch.
It is still Bank of Ghana.
I agree. Because you say his, you are referring to him as a person. As for him, if you ask me, I will applaud him for what he has done. For being able to open up this cancer for the wound to heal. For us to deal with the issues, for us to get opportunity to improve the laws. I believe the people that are responsible, we have to put timeline.
So what can Parliament do on this particular issue?
Well, if you look...
the revelations
at the end of
governor.
every section, we gave opportunity for the press to come in and we brief them what has happened and stuff like that. So what...
Apart from the talking, because we want action.
Well, apart from the talking, I've already told you that we may have opportunity to improve the laws.
To make recommendations.
To improve the laws. I mean, if you have to look at the act and maybe, say, like my friend was saying...
That's all?
No, that's not all. We can also ensure that if Bank of Ghana is not doing its duties, there has to be consequences. So that's just all. It may even lead to the possibility of public hearing. Let's bring everybody on. Everything is on the table now. What we are doing now is beginning to get
but that's the problem. So, Mr. Champon,
yes, in
the future we could see a public hearing. What's the point?
It will even be on this issue.
What's the point? Because you decided to do in camera. So why would you come back in the future and come and do an open one after you've listened to them in camera? Then you bring them again to come and do public show.
That's a position. That's the position you guys have taken.
No,
my friend,
it's not a position.
Explained it.
We want to understand.
That
I mean, you decided to
with
do
the finance is quite sensitive, and what we are doing, even though we are interested
but
to
what
see
I'm saying, Mr. Champon, is that you've decided to do in camera. Stick to it.
No.
Why would you want to do public hearing sometime?
Mama V, you know, this is a committee's work. So by now, the committee will come out with its own plans as to what recommendation we have to give to either the Attorney General. Because yesterday they were there. So
the AG?
AG department, they represented the minister. So that
the finance minister?
No, the AG's department. In terms of legality, criminal aspect, and the civil aspect of it. So we can't sit here and tell you...
Wait, hang on. So they were there monitoring the events and taking notes so that they can...
Questions. Like somebody will be given 130 million Ghana cedis and a board chairman will say, oh, per their own minute, they refused to give the money to the CEO. But the board chairman insisted, allow him to take the money. I'll make sure he returns the money. And the money has not been returned. So in this case, what is the sanction to be applied on this director of the bank or the CEO? So they will take note of those infractions.
Okay, but were they involved in the questioning?
No, that's not their job.
Okay.
They will just
so they were just observing?
Yes, and take note. So when you go to court,
question them too.
They are going to do the prosecution. Yeah. So they'll have more evidence to buttress their case. So, like he's saying, we are dealing with the institution, not the bank, the governor as a person. So Bank of Ghana failed us. Let's put it in the proper context.
Yes. But who heads the Bank of Ghana?
The governor. Not at that time.
No, put timeline on it.
But governor is governor.
Even if you're putting timelines on it, this governor himself approved 2 facilities or 2 licenses. So what are we talking about? Based on, let me read the law.
Based on what?
Let me read the law.
Based on what? You read this yesterday.
No.
And you have said it
at
this morning as well.
Section 12. Final approval and issuance of banking and special deposit taking institution licenses. Final approval.
You read this yesterday.
This is what this governor did between June and December 2017. The Bank of Ghana may grant the applicant a final approval and issue a license to carry on a deposit taking business as specified where the Bank of Ghana is satisfied. And then the B is that the applicant has complied with the terms and conditions stipulated in the provisional approval.
Yes.
So having given the approval, meaning you are satisfied with those conditions given to them. So why are you telling me the man was open, the man should be praised? We are not here to sing praises.
No.
Let's deal with the institutions.
You know we won't do that.
Let's deal with those people who did things wrong.
But you have
so
to
that they're not punish them.
Where credit is due.
I'm coming on about.
I mean, honestly speaking.
So the question you pose is, after what are we going to gain from this exercise? We need to make a proper recommendation so that those who should be put before the law court should be put before the law court. Either some staff will be surcharged or dismissed or jail. This is what people want to see.
How is that different from what Iyoko reportedly is doing now?
Because we will also be in a better position to inform our people. Like yesterday, we made the man told us Yoko is investigating some staff of Bank of Ghana.
Did they give you names?
This is what we are going to request for. Give her the details of those people. Either it's a word of mouth or you mean it.
Is he obliged to supply you?
Oh, no, yes. Okay. We represent Ghanaians, so whatever we want.
And even when the committee sits, we have the power of the High Court. Yeah. Though he was not under oath, but he can't lie before the committee.
Okay, so when is he presenting those names?
This will be part of our recommendation so that we can share with the general public that staff A, B, C, D did what, and they have been demoted, they have been sacked, they have been surcharged, they have been put before the law court, and the law is dealing with them, so that people will have confidence in the system. We can just not be sitting down, meeting the governor and the Minister of Finance, and nothing happens. No, there should be a proper recommendation so that we take it from there, and we can also shape our laws so that those people who have their investment, even there are people who have fixed deposit, who were earning between 12 to 15% on it. Today, because of the bank that have been collapsed, they are getting 8%. And some have been denying transactions because of the new bank from Consolidated Bank. And it's affecting their businesses. So these are critical times we find ourselves. So we should not be seen praising individuals as if they are thank God and all that.
The finance ministry was also
yes.
Sure. So who appeared?
The deputy minister,
Deputy Minister of Finance.
Okay.
And even with the Consolidated Bank that we're talking of, you set up a bank and so you give them 450 million. Meanwhile, the bank is having crisis. Just last week, two guys took about 200,000 Ghanaians from the bank, and even they are in court. Right now, there's no line of activity to give them profits.
Beige issue, right?
Not beige. Consolidated
no, this was
bank.
consolidated,
Okay.
yes.
There's no line of activity to give them profit because you made 5 banks with different culture and different perspective, and you don't have anything to do to give them profit. So if care is not taken, the same bank will collapse.
So what was the conversation with the finance ministry? Where did
bond,
you talk about
in
jobs?
respect of the bond and the jobs, even with the governor, because the press release he gave out, he gave assurance that nobody will lose his or a job. But here we are told 1,700 people will lose their jobs.
And
he said he did not guarantee jobs.
We have to be.
The governor said he did not guarantee jobs in the press release.
He said in the press release, he said it's here. He said there will be no immediate job losses.
Okay.
I mean, you don't expect the governor to say that.
So this is not immediate?
Exactly. Immediate job losses. That's what he said. By the way,
so what we have seen has not been immediate.
How long is it?
Let me say
Let me finish. Let me conclude.
Okay, please land in a minute.
So they are going to issue the bond of about 5.7 billion. You and I is going to pay for it. How do we pay for it? And this bond has not been budgeted in the 2018 budget. The 450 million. There's no budget line in the budget that we are going to find the money. Because
did you ask?
Yes.
Okay, what was the response?
And they said that they'll come back to the house. But you announce to the world that you're giving them 450 million as a seed capital. Meanwhile, there's no budget line in the 2018 budget.
They'll come back.
The contingency fund don't have 450 million in there. So where are you getting the money from?
And they couldn't
answer.
Respond immediately,
they couldn't respond.
So they'll have to come back.
So this is not how we manage an economy like this. So, seek proper approval. Let's find the money because the law says
your 1 minute is up.
Yes. Okay. Before you can spend any money from the contingency fund, you come to finance committee for approval. So
but that has not been done.
Yes.
There
have been communications.
Okay, yeah.
So I mean, you have to understand that the chairman of the finance committee has been spoken to. So don't go there.
We just requested it.
And honorable, to say
but what he's saying is legit.
No.
He's making very legitimate.
These are questions that we all asked. It even came from some of, her friends. Nobody's trying to protect anybody here. I just want him to get it. And he's speaking as if he's trying to blame some people and you are doing this, you're doing that.
Institution.
No. What was the alternative? The alternative is to let people suffer, depositors lose their money. What the Minister of Finance, in collaboration with the Bank of Ghana, had done was to save a bad situation. I heard on one of your platform, JoyNews, that the receiver has started already going to court, beginning to sue people to recover this money. So some things are being done. And that is what I want him to understand. Some things are being done. Bank of Ghana is taking steps.
By who? We want action
taken
by the regulator.
No, actions have been taken. So what I'm saying is that they came, they opened up, they told us. And even the governor's own opinion thinks that the failure of his staff or the staff of Bank of Ghana to take action, he thinks there may be some hand somewhere or political interference that stopped them because he didn't understand.
He said that?
Yes, he said that, right? So if you want to really go into this, you can't blame them. I think they were open to us. They gave us what we needed to know. We have the opportunity to improve the laws. We have to make sure that people...
Is he coming back? Is there an opportunity to come back?
The chairman of the finance committee told everybody that came that we may call you back for further hearings, you know, and that is why we are saying that.
So who's coming before you today?
Today, I think we are having Consolidated Bank, and also we're having the receivers, Pricewaterhouse and KPMG. They are all coming today.
Okay.
And
so what's the objective of their coming today?
It's still part of the hearing. We are gathering information to understand what we can do, to see opportunity to improve the laws, or maybe improve the existing laws or come up with new ones to ensure that these things don't happen again.
And Ghanaians hope that as representatives of the people, you are aware of everything that is happening in terms of those who are losing their jobs, those who are not getting their benefits.
We are not going to disappoint Ghanaians, I can assure you. That's not what we are doing.
So, you know, when Consolidated appear before you today, are you going to impress upon them to pay off the benefits and things like that they owe people?
No, yes. we would like to understand.
Or you just want to understand what's happening?
No, we want
and
to
make recommendations later.
We want to understand what is happening with the people's job and the people that had contracts with those previous banks and how they're going to take care of business and stuff like that. We need to understand this is Ghana's bank. You know,
so do you sit tomorrow, Friday?
We will sit as well.
And then when is your sitting?
I think it's 3 days. So yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
Okay, and then after Friday?
After Friday, I think the report is put together, and then we'll go from there.
How far can your recommendations go?
Very far. To the extent that it can affect the laws of this country, that's quite far.
Who are you making the recommendations to?
Parliament. We are just a committee, you know, so if we do any recommendation, it will go to
the plenary.
Yeah, exactly.
And Mr. Speaker will refer to appropriate quarters, like the Attorney General Office or any other institution to deal with either it's a civil matter or criminal matter, so that they will take it from there.
And then we also have opportunity, you know, to go to our constituencies to explain what has happened, because we owe it to the people of Ghana. All these, we have, like a regional minister in a Treasury Union say, we are just messengers. You know, we are sent here for a purpose, and that's what we are doing. So we are doing the work of the people.
Okay. When are you going back as a house? Because you're still on recess.
Yeah, that will be somewhere early October, because we are supposed to be recalled next week, but leadership is traveling, so when they return...
So that emergency sitting is not happening?
They postpone
approvals?
Yes, it is postponed. So with the band that we are meeting today, what we intend doing is to ask them the packages they are giving to the staff that they are laying off. And even it's not proper, per the labor law, to vary somebody's condition to his or her disadvantage. There should be exit meeting. Give them an option. Either they have to reapply or they take the package and leave. You can't just announce to them through text messages that Title 700 will be just reapply without any proper communication to them. So these are some of the issues we need to address. And you know, with the committee, sometimes they take some decisions. When they appear before the committee, they backtrack and go and do the right thing. So it's very useful meeting with all these agencies till that they were not doing right. When we raised it before them, they go back and then do the right thing, like the Minister of Finance then. Had not been the committee sitting, they would just go ahead and be doing whatever they wanted to do. But now they've gotten the sense that it's a breach of the law. So they have to come back and do the proper thing. We raised certain issues, the governor have taken it on board, and especially with the punishment to his own staff and all that. And I know he's going to act on it because we've given him the signal. So the meeting is very good, and it's going to shape our laws, and people are going to sit down and do their work well. Because if you are sacked tomorrow, next day, you be careful taking certain decisions on behalf of all of us.
Okay, I'll give you the last say on this. We'll wrap up, we'll talk a bit China.
In terms of the employees, people that are losing their job, it's quite unfortunate, you know. But of course, you don't expect a bank that is supposed to be performing and doing well to line up 5 banks if they are on your street here and keep all the 5 banks. It's not possible, you know. So what my colleague is saying, that we should just go and have a meeting and understand what they are doing and what should be done.
But
because
do you understand the people who have been affected by?
I do.
You understand them, okay?
Totally.
Right.
And I empathize with them.
Because that's what we want you to send the message across as well.
I do, and I empathize with a lot of them. Even though sometimes I say that some of these issues that we are experiencing, non-performing loans, sometimes staff are also responsible. Sometimes if you sit there and you do what we call in this industry, armchair loans, go and inspect the project before you finance it, and you sit down, just create numbers, you end up basically putting all of us in trouble like this. So not all of them, of course. So I empathize with their situation. I can understand. So the point I make is that we shouldn't be making judgment with respect to what is happening to the employees or what is not happening right now. Let's just go and see what they are doing and see whether or not there's opportunity to make sure people get proper benefits before they leave and stuff like that. So we can just jump
China's been in the news. The president has been in China. We've been meeting. Today we're told that Sinotrack will come up. Sinotrack. They'll come and set up in Ghana.
Yes.
A lot of good things seem to be coming from China.
I know.
And I say, shouldn't we be cautious, like too good to be true? What do they stand to gain in all this?
Cautiousness, I agree. But we have to take some risk. Yes. No pain, no gain.
Okay, now you're sounding like a businessman.
Yes. You have to do that. And let me say this, the president, and let me say greetings to the president and his team, and to wish them well, even as they continue to engage people in China. And to say that all the bold decisions that have been taken. I was coming out when I was driving here on the Tema Highway to yesterday, I was thinking that I feel more proud as a Ghanaian and the MPP's watch.
What, because the president is in China and China has promised us things?
No, it's because, in my view, the choice that the president is making for Ghana, the determination for us to succeed as a people, the bold initiatives that is going on.
Is this coming from an objective point, or you're talking as a member of his political party?
I am talking as a proud Ghanaian, patriotic enough that I am so...
So what are the bold initiatives you're talking about? How does it translate?
When we found a very good, innovative way to package this 2 billion grant. I mean, what do you call it? If you want to call it.
Oh, now he says grants.
No. I mean, of course. I missed it. This butter credit we call.
Butter credit.
Yes.
Very interesting.
All right.
We're waiting for the IMF.
Okay.
Can't see the NDC. We're waiting for the IMF.
It's quite innovative and creative.
If it was so easy, the IMF would have told us.
Yes.
But it's not so easy.
No, it's not so easy. Nobody expects it to be. All right. To be able to raise money to build the first interchange in the northern region, which potentially may be named after our honorable minority leader.
So what kind of
honorable, what do you call it?
Haruna Interchange Highway.
Our friends in NDC.
No, have you seen?
Fighting it.
Based on what are you saying? What you're saying?
Because it's part of the deal. The 2 billion. It has gone through Parliament. They raised objection. I don't want you and I to go to the hospital and they tell us there are no beds.
So China seem to be the solution to all our problems now.
That's not the case. We must be responsible ourselves. People are talking, you said Ghana Beyond Aid, why are you borrowing? Who told you responsible borrowing is not part of Ghana Beyond Aid? Responsible borrowing is part of Ghana Beyond Aid. Except that if you borrow and use the money recklessly, then you are hurting Ghana Beyond Aid. So I believe what the president is doing to be able to attract investors from China, wherever they come from, we welcome them. We need to develop Ghana.
Mr. Chambo, I'm sure because, of course, you're on the other side, you see things differently.
That is not the case, because all of us are trying to develop this country. NDC 1 and 2, we've done our bit, and then come 2021, we'll come and continue where we left it off. So it's not about the money that we have issues with, but the terms and conditions. Because you told us it's a better arrangement, and this one will not be added to our desktop.
Which you dispute.
Yes. But when you got the document, in the document, we saw arrangement fee, commitment fee, legal fee, and interest element on the facility.
But what were you thinking? It wasn't going to be free.
Thank you.
No. If you're telling me it's butter, you are going to mine my bauxite. So whatever proceed you get, you make sure you pay the 2 billion or whatever, so that I use the money for my infrastructure development. But here we are, in the document, there's a contingent liability that after mining the bauxite, if the proceeds are not able to pay for the 2 billion, government should find money elsewhere and pay the difference.
Why don't you pay?
What kind of arrangement is this? So they are saying 2 billion. By the end of the day, it will not be 2 billion. If you put the charges together, it will be more than the 2 billion.
Isn't it the risk that comes with it? Because if you were Chinese,
but everybody said 2 billion.
Put yourself into the person coming from the other side.
Everybody said 2
what if
billion.
You go there and then there's nothing?
2 billion, 2 billion.
Oh, but Honorable,
it's not 2 billion.
Honorable,
let me speak.
Cost of using somebody's money.
Let me speak.
No, but the truth is that if it is butter, you don't expect that we pay something else.
There's no condition.
If I do butter with you, you give me your phone.
This and that.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
That is an exchange.
You just press value on it.
If you are going to do 50-60, what tells you that I have not included my interest?
You press value on it. Before
I have included my interest already.
No. Yes. Before I give you, Honorable Ochem, before I give you this my phone, and I want to take you a shoe, I must press value on it and see that
it must equal what we are exchanging.
Yes.
Just because the values are atomized does not mean there's no arrangement fee in it. Or there's no,
so what kind of butter is that?
Let me speak. You are taking my time. You are taking my time.
True.
You know, when this government assumed office, our loan portfolio was 122 billion. As I said, it's about 153 billion.
Yes.
But there's nothing out there to show what they've used this money for.
Are you sure?
And to whom much is given,
I disagree.
To whom much is given, much is expected. So if there's nothing out there to show for the 153 billion, you're going out there to take another 2 billion. You know the extra bond is not part of our debt. We are going to issue some 2 billion to save these banks. And we had another 50 billion 100 years, right?
Yes.
If you put all together, you know, the $50 billion will give you 245 billion Ghana cedis. If you put all together, our debt stock will be 407 billion Ghana cedis.
Okay.
Meanwhile, the projected GDP for 2018 is 241 billion Ghana cedis.
Let me help him.
You can't help me. It's 241 billion Ghana cedis.
He doesn't understand it. Let me help
Do you
him.
understand it? So can this economy contain all these? If there are physical projects to show that this project can give us the value, this project can pay for the loan, then we'll be satisfied with it. And the needs of today will not be the needs of tomorrow.
Well, let me help you.
When they came, we gave them 40-year plan.
Yes, we're actually wrapping up. So
concluding. When they came, you're in government. Allow me to speak. When they came, we gave them 40-year plan. They said,
this is not a government station.
Yes. Someone said 40 years too long a time. They want 5-year development plan.
Mama V, on the contrary.
Somebody who is who is fighting against 40-year development plan now want to take a loan for 100 years.
Mama V,
are you serious?
On the contrary, if he says he sees nothing, at least the lights are on.
Okay, well, lights.
Hold on.
But we resolve it before we left.
I'm just giving you the small ones that we can.
We fix the lights.
See. Okay, at least they're on. Go to Bantama. The road that is being constructed is 6 inches thick. Okay, I've seen something. You may not. It's okay.
So you've seen the road at Bantama,
okay.
And then you've seen the lights on.
Many things are happening.
For 40 billion Ghana cedis.
I think I have a bit of time, so please give me more.
Okay, so I can give you more. So the point I'm making with him is that
mention the project. Mention the project.
Please, let me finish. One example. In Ghana, we hear, and I think it's true, that we have housing deficit. I'm just giving one example because they don't know how we use this money.
Has the situation changed?
If we are able to get 50 billion, and you and I can get mortgage, 30-year mortgage, paying 600 Ghana cedis a month for 30 years, that alone, 2 billion houses.
So
with about 490.
So the relief is in China now.
So I'm just saying that if our friends in NDC cannot understand that this 50 billion, when they are brought in, they will not be used for, what do you call it, planting trees and doing bad issues, and if they are managed properly, the loans themselves will pay for themselves.
Okay.
They shouldn't think that it's going to be used for Chinchinka, where repayment becomes difficult. Even housing alone.
Well, have we had issues with our loans being used for Chinchinga in the past?
Well, come on. If you have a president that will go and build a factory $35 million and tell you, I didn't think about raw material, You should be concerned.
Which one are you talking
And let me
about?
tell you, it's not the NDC government, the Commander Sugar Factory. Let me tell you another.
We asked you to tell her what to use the 40 billion. You only Bantama road.
No.
Even that road is under construction.
We have to wrap up. But have you heard the sound bites of the member of parliament who says if the NDC stole at all, it was coins, and that the MPP, you guys are stealing dollars?
No. They just put in a very wrong context.
Okay.
She was saying, MPP government is corrupt.
But we had her.
Let me help you. Let me help you to understand her position.
Yes.
That MPP government is corrupt, and even if we are to compare the two parties, then I mean if they are stealing papers, we stole coins. Just comparison. Just comparison. She didn't say because they said we are corrupt.
Oh no.
What they are trying
to achieve is that, or what they are telling Ghanaians that NDC folks are thieves. That was just.
She made a statement that this government is corrupt. 1 year, 8 months. We've witnessed a lot of corrupt allegation.
This is confession from NDC camp.
I didn't
and
think
all
that
they are trying to do is to tag
I didn't think we needed help to understand what she said. But apparently we have it. So why don't we settle it by listening?
If you still quit, you will see.
Shall we listen?
Okay. I'm putting in the proper context.
Look at the corruption in their government now. You can't compare it to NDC. After all, if NDC will steal, they will steal coins. These people, they will steal dollars. What are you talking about?
Okay, after unscripted, you can't make comments. So thank you, gentlemen. But I'm not sure we need you to explain it to us. We got here.
You got it.
So
exactly.
all of you steal. But I think it's been established.
No, them.
No, they cannot equalize on this one.
No. What is happening?
Loot and share.
No, it's somebody's jargon that you are repeating. This is a jargon. What is happening today under their watch? It's terrible.
So it's been established. You steal coins, and you steal dollars.
No, we don't. They cannot prove it.
We thank you for watching this segment. Stay with us. But my costume, courtesy Ajua Yeboah Clothing. My guests, Member of Parliament for Bia East, Richard Champong, and Member of Parliament for Bantama, Daniel Ochimabwaji. Stay with us. We've got more coming your way.